Hello and welcome to Toyer Talk. Today's topic will cover land use. So David, what are some of the land use projects from the firm has worked in, and how can clients benefit from your knowledge on the subject?
So land use encompasses a lot of areas, really from simple building permits to more complex entitlements associated with large things like industrial projects. More common projects that we tend to handle include lobbying for code amendments, assessing sites for potential clients, resolving permitting delays, and resolving other land use disputes and instances where businesses might be in violation of local zoning standards. We've also handled many docket proposals, which involve changing both the comprehensive plan and land use zoning underlying the comp plan designation. And really that's critical for a lot of our clients that maybe want to move from one type of a use to a different type of a use.
Can you describe some projects Toyer Strategic has completed and how the company can add value to projects?
Absolutely. Three examples. Recent would be we had a project where a jurisdiction was going to require additional frontage improvements, which is things like curb, gutter, and sidewalk construction. It was in addition to what they had already required when they approved the project at the beginning. The timing was problematic, obviously, because there's some limitations by which a jurisdiction can ask for something after they've already approved something. But beyond that, we did some research to see if there was a way to avoid kind of a legal case, and found that it was just outside of their jurisdiction where they wanted to require improvements, and they had no interlocal with the other jurisdiction. And interlocal agreements allow jurisdictions to enforce each other's codes and standards. And so in that particular case, we were able to save the client a couple $100,000 in costs that they would have otherwise incurred. Another example would be a project we had where a client came to us and asked us to see if a particular location might work for their project. We did some analysis, and there were some zoning standards, things like building height, setbacks, and some other conditions that weren't really supportive of what the client wanted to accomplish. So we did some research on like-sized jurisdictions in that state, found some examples where other jurisdictions didn't have those requirements, approached that community, and was able to pass a package of code amendments in advance of our client applying for their project, which allowed them to apply for the project that they wanted to construct. So in that particular case, they got to build the project that they needed to build for their business in the location that they wanted to build it in. And so there was some inherent value in that. And a third example would be we had a client towards the end of last year that had a parcel of property that was zoned for really low density single family residential development, but part of the site was impacted by some wetlands, and that made the site really undevelopable. And typically what a developer might do is they would go seek out a wetland development permit and alter the wetland to be able to get the type of density that they needed on a site. In this case, we advised the client that it was a better idea to change the designation from single family to multifamily so that they could get a higher unit count. It was also more consistent with the surrounding properties around it and how they might develop in the future. So they were able to triple the amount of units they could construct, and so there was a significant value add there because they're able to now have more product to sell.
Thanks so much for answering my questions, David. Remember, if you have a question for Toyer, you can tweet it to #ToyerTalk, post it on our Facebook page, or send us an email. Join us soon for another Toyer Talk.